And I have Janka Brain. She's the Director of Sustainability in Emerson as well. She comes from US. She's been in the Middle East for quite some time. A lot of experience in helping companies digitalizing and improving operation, particularly focused on oil and gas. Janka. Johan de Villiers, Senior VP of Energy Industries in ABB, has been covering India, Middle East, and Southeast Asia, working with a range of companies across different sectors, now focusing robotics, power grids, and so on, now focusing on energy. Johan, thanks for coming. Very good. And we have Olivier Descontais, which is a partner of Metis, based in Paris, extensive experience in Middle East. He helps clients to drive digital transformation, and he is also an entrepreneur, founding his own company on digital and AI. Thank you. Super. Thank you again for having us. So the topic that we would like to cover today is around operational excellence and linked to AI and artificial intelligence. We hear a lot about AI. We hear a lot about generative AI, particularly over the last years or so. There is a push on implementation, right, and scaling up all the use cases. So we will get a view from all our panelists on what they've seen in the industry, in the companies, and then some of the challenges that helped or that could be avoided to scale up. So I will start with the first question, and I will probably start with Farouk, with yourself. Just to have a base understanding, when you think about AI in operational excellence, what are the typical use cases, what are the typical elements that get implemented, and good to understand what are some of the prioritizations?
First of all, Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all. And thanks, Ajay, for asking that particular question. It's a great question, actually. Let me start with the digital transformation journey. It started almost a decade ago, and COVID has accelerated it. And the reason behind was that industry started seeing the reduction in the top line revenues, and they focused towards reducing the cost of production. So the focus shifted totally towards the OpEx. So energy optimization, reducing the cost of production, plus reducing the expenses to maintain the plant was the main focus. In the past, localizing the failure or detecting a fault was important. Today, predicting the failure and rooting out the causes which are creating those failures is the main the task. Artificial intelligence is not a new thing. It even started with the advent of computers. At that time, there was a set of rules which we call program, applicable on a very small data, and that's what the intelligence we had at the time. Today, the rules are replaced by analyzing a big data, labeling that data, good quality, bad quality, extracting the operational intelligence out of it, and then predicting the behavior of plant, process, assets, whatever is around. This provides an immense opportunity for the operators and the process owners to predict the behavior of their machines, their plants, and the operation throughout the complete supply chain. Now with this, I would like to give a very quick examples that what I'm talking about at the moment. As we speak, the non-revenue water losses are approximately $5 billion per year in developing countries. Now we have I would say the intelligence of the smart sensors around, and based on the data, we predict and detect the leakage at the early stage, including the GIS information as well. And that would contribute into the economy. You can imagine the scale that if it is 5 billion contributing as a loss. Apart from that, I mean, we are not sitting in the country or the region where there are extensive rainy seasons, but when there are rains, then you know that everything is choked. So there is also the sewer blockage predictor that can trace from the atmosphere and the rain pattern to figure out that what needs to be deployed and how to maintain the optimization of the pumps and the assets. So at the end of the day, it's all about knowing the unknowns, analyzing the immense amount of data, and use it to reduce the operational expenses, and then enhance I would say, the operational excellence in plant process throughout the life cycle.
Very clear. Thank you. Olivier, you've been serving clients, right, on digital transformation on this topic. What is on top of their mind? Right? As we just said, look, there is a lot of data. There is a need of use information to have predictive insights. What is on top of their mind?
Thank you very much. A real pleasure to be here today. Yes, I think what's top of the mind today is how Gen AI is really changing the game. I think I'm a tech entrepreneur, but also in consulting, so I've been, selling a lot of tech. And people say, blockchain, Web3, metaverse, AI, how different it is, and should we embrace it with the same passion, that, you talked to me from a different topic on AI a few years ago. I think it's a real game changer, and I think all companies do realize that there has been a shift with Gen AI, with the ability to really also move to the next phase of, as you describe it, to use your data in a very meaningful way. The understanding of the context is very powerful. The pre-trained models that enables them to be extremely effective, and the generation of content behind it then is also extremely interesting. And we see a lot of companies today that tries to really embrace all these opportunities. And the ability as well to make it very simple. I mean, you just prompt, you don't need to be an IT coder, etc. Makes it extremely easy for people to try and test it. Now, we need to put it obviously in boundaries, but what we see in companies today is all across the different functions, you can use Gen AI and see some benefits. And I would say 3 of them. One is productivity, because we know that you can increase by 40% productivity by automating 80% of your tasks. The second is speed, because the insights you can generate from Gen AI are extremely fast, and basically analyzing data, with some clients, their customer care tells us, we have all this kind of customer feedback, takes a lot of time. Now with Gen AI, we can do it in a very effective way. So speed is the second benefit. And the third one would be creativity, because you can generate content, ideas, options. When we work with marketing departments, Gen AI kind of leads to a lot of examples and solutions, etc. So it does not replace humans, and I know we're going to talk about it later, but it enhances the people. So just people are top of their mind, Gen AI, but in a secure way, and you can do it. Picking the right solution and driving with the right use cases as well, in order to test and learn, but people do see real results, and that's what is very exciting.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Olivier. You touch upon being business back, right? So you need to understand what is the impact, what is the productivity, how much unlock you can get from having even faster decision making. I'm not sure, Janka, do you have a view on or some example, right, based on your experience of, look, where did it work very well, right, and what is the outcome, right? And then when instead there are some challenges, and then what are the key challenges for company to get into implementation?
Thank you, and it is really a privilege and pleasure to be here among such an amazing panel and guests. So I am actually just coming out of COP28, literally just changed the badges. And you know, there are a lot of different discussions going on, and one of the upfront discussions, and in every single aspect, wherever you were in the Blue Zone negotiations or in the aspect of you know, business-private organizations, was really pushing the innovations and technologies in every aspect of the organizations, businesses, to accelerate the journey that we are all on together. And AI, as you already had mentioned, is really the acceleration of pushing these innovations, technologies in place. So when you look at the businesses, you know, one of the things that, for example, we had used during, you know, I'll tell example, the COP28, is to go through that amount of data that we had to collect this data and come up with the decisions based on a huge amount of data where AI again comes in place, right? So making sure that we have time to strategize and make a decision based on the real-time data is what the AI allows us. Also, another, you know, in our organization, the repetitive task that we do on a daily basis, you know, automizing this repetitive task, again, increasing the productivity in our daily days, as well as efficiency and the cost. So using the AI for this kind of activities inside the organization, allowing you to use the human resources for more creativity, as you had mentioned, for strategizing and making the decisions across. Now, I'll tell you a simple example, which is not necessarily in our industry, as you had mentioned, but I have a son who is into NBA and plays basketball and crazy about it. And he has a game that uses AI to create the avatar and the game and all the moves. So he's using it to play the game and then practice his skills, right? So the AI is going to be used for education and you know, upskilling the workforces. Again, I'm hoping that it's for him one day NBA, so you know, I can be the mom of the NBA player. But for us, in the businesses, using to train the workforce and upskilling the workforce is where AI I can see to be used. And when you say the challenges, as we all, you know, our industries that we work on, is the data, is the accurate, the real and reliable data collections, right? That's where the sensors, as you had mentioned, you know, and again, we all work with them, comes in place, the proper equipment, proper collection of data, and that's, I would say, it's utmost importance, as well as having the robust infrastructure in place and skilled workforce. Because AI is not just something that you implement today and you are done. It's something that you have to work on and improve and always update and make sure that your workforce is up to date. So I would say these are the challenges that we still need to work on. And one that you had mentioned already, it also needs to be a little bit control environment, right? We cannot just have that doing their own thing, and we had a lot of different examples if that's what happens. So having the controlled, skilled environment that it's AI performing in.
Thank you. Jon, any example from your side on positive outcome, challenges on top of what Janka was mentioning? And maybe, look, you've been in Southeast Asia, you've been in Middle East, you've been in India. Any differences that you see across regions?
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Matteo. Great to be here, and good morning to everybody. It's great to maybe just take one step back for the perspective of what we're discussing here. I mean, we've got all kinds of industrial facilities delivering services, making it possible for us to be here with electricity, water, manufacturing industries. And all of these industries are today in a state where humans can't run them. This has to be controlled by process control systems, automation, electrification. So, and all of these companies, whether they are services, utilities, manufacturers, industrial plants, are under pressure to do things safer, more cost-effective. We all want to pay less for what we buy. There's a competitive environment, and now we've added to that sustainability. And we expect, as a society, that these companies and utilities will provide their services basically doing more with less, less emissions included. And the only way we can do this and continue this improvement process is by using the data. And the fact is, we did a recent survey, only 20% of the data generated by industrial facilities are used in any way, even less of that analyzed to make a decision. And that's where the opportunity lies, is our brains are too small to compute and to comprehend and to make full use of this data. We need tools to do that. And that's the opportunity that AI creates. So I could say there's 3 buckets where I see mature adoption of digital solutions that uses AI to really drive this improvement. One is optimization engines. So there's all kinds of optimization tools that we've got. It could be energy optimization, integrating of renewables and optimizing the whole way in which energy storage is used in an industrial facility. It could be optimizing a boiler in a power plant. It could be optimizing a line of industrial robots in a manufacturing facility. And no matter where you are in the world, and no matter what state of excellence you've achieved in operational excellence, there's improvements possible. And if you use the data, you can always make a better decision. You can optimize things a little bit more. So we see significant adoption of these optimization engines. Batch process is another one. So if you are in specialty chemicals, pharmaceuticals, if you've got a batch that gets spoiled, that's use losses. And using data to predict what set of conditions provide the best yield. So there's a large-scale adoption in pulp and paper digesters, all kinds of industrial processes that have a batch process where you can use AI to predict and to optimize things and to provide better results. And if you look across this optimization space and so on, I mean, the data that we're seeing in deploying this is operational cost savings of up to 40%. So it obviously depends on your starting point, and these are companies that are in a pretty low point, but 40% saving in operational cost, 30% improvement in operational efficiency, 25% improvement in energy use or emissions. So these are significant savings. I mean, that's really, really significant. The third one is where you use artificial intelligence for discrete manufacturing automation. So video analytics can enable us to robotize things that we could never do before because we can detect how things arrive, pick and place is possible. So collaborative robotics is accelerating because you can now have robots in the presence of humans without harming them. So those are sort of 3 areas where I think we see a lot of big adoption. If you look at the side where things don't, I mean, where I see some challenge and frustration, it's rarely with the technology. It's often the human factor. So we've had cases where there's active resistance to implementing some of these tools because the change management process wasn't run in a good way. People are threatened by the technology where it should never be like that. It should always be collaborative and enabling people to do their work smarter and faster and better. And I think the other sad example to me is where companies don't really have a vision of a comprehensive vision for operational excellence and then buying tools maybe out of the fear of missing out or trying something, and you end up with these dashboards or things sitting somewhere in an office and it's totally not used, and in that case the result is zero. There's no improvement, and that obviously is sad to see that. So we should never forget the human element here.
Oh, fascinating. Thank you. Thank you. Particularly,
Matteo, can I just
Absolutely.
add, said we'll make it a conversation. So,
Absolutely.
can I just add on what we touched upon one very important theme, which is people and how you drive change. And obviously AI is great, but at the end is how people want to implement it and drive change. And what is very fascinating about Gen AI is the ability to do mass personalization. And I really encourage you to apply it in the ways to convince people or to empower people thanks to that. I'll give you some examples. Like, you have these boring procedures of things, and that's what we do at clients, and then usually you just transmit that, and they have to read it, etc., and it's very painful. using Gen AI, you can just say, turn that into a few quiz that will talk to a salesperson or an admin person or somebody knowledgeable, not knowledgeable. And the Gen AI will translate that content into something which is very dynamic and engaging. And we have seen people saying, oh, actually, it's true. Actually, I can play with that. I can respond, and I can, it's much more interesting. And I grab now what this data is about and what it can do for me. Or put that into a different context based on the situation we had before, etc. So the mass personalization is one thing that is very exciting. Turning your data into something which is engaging and conversational. So doing in parallel this kind of change management, we have seen that across companies really opens the eye, makes the things more interesting, more effective, and also is something that then is very concrete, and people understand, okay, if that is for me, then I can also apply it. So the change management part is also accelerated, I think, with the Gen AI.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe if you allow me to add what he said, you're absolutely right. The AI is being perceived by many that it will be a killer for employment.
Yeah.
It would be killer for people, and machines will be replacing the humans. It's not fact. Thing is that it will generate a demand for new skill sets. It will generate the employment for the people who know how to handle the data, how to label the data, how to use the operational intelligence for the benefit of OpEx improvement. So I think this is what, the change is an opportunity, actually. People have to consider and don't resist.
And I think also, as it attracts the talent, the new young talent out there, coming into the organizations. They are growing up with this in this environment. So having that ability, as you mentioned, in organization and in organization processes and the management, that yes, the use is there and it's aligned with the organization KPIs, it does attract the talent as well.
And that's building on the talent point, how difficult it is to get really skilled talent in AI now that can really help the implementation, right, of these use cases, if you have a perspective, right? And probably the other question that came out, which I really like, is instead of having almost a use case by use case view of how a company has a vision, where they want to bring, and then how that vision fits with the implementation roadmap. So good to get probably your view on the talent, right, how difficult it is, then maybe if you can give us example on the comprehensive vision, that you see some very good success factor and then some not good one.
So again, as I mentioned, I see it across not only our organization, and I am lucky enough that I live and I work for the organization that it's open to changes, and by attracting different portfolios that we are adding different software portfolios into our already broad portfolio, allowing this, it's open to changes. It's open to changes, it's open to bringing and working with the universities across different regions, globally, where because we are open to changes and we are in the aspect of, okay, let's see what the AI can help us instead of, oh, we cannot use it, right? So in that case, it's allowing the younger generation or the generation that it's open to learning the new things, come into the workplace and collaborate with people that have not maybe used that before or are not sure if this is something that can help them in their job. So I see it, again, in particular in our organization, because we are open, we are adding the new portfolios, we are allowing the culture to express what they need in order to better perform in their work. I feel that, in industries across, it's easier to attract the talent when you talk about we can use the AI, we are going to be using it to enhance our portfolio, to enhance our efficiency and productivity. So I feel that.
And in terms of talent, the conversation I have with my son is, this is the space to be. There's going to be a lot of work. I think there will be a huge demand for hard skills and soft skills. And I would say, I think just from my personal experience, it's possible to get the hard skills. So people that understand data analytics, that can help us set up a large language model, and we can access those. The biggest challenge I've got is for people to reimagine how to do work using these tools and to consider the possibilities. And I'll just take our company as an example. I mean, we're obviously not just selling equipment and tools and solutions to customers. We are adopting this and want to lead in adopting this in the way that we generate code, in the way that we market, in the way that we engage with employees, in the way that we share knowledge across the company. These are massive opportunities to do things better, faster, more cost-effective to the benefit of our shareholders, our customers, and our employees. I'm very passionate about young talent. I think they will help us. Sometimes it's not a benefit to know too much, and we've used to rely a lot on domain expertise that still will continue to be very important, but we've got to augment that with people with an open mind that ask good questions and can dream about a better future and how we can use these tools. Just on vision, I think where we see the best cases is where there's a clear vision on where a company goes, a transformation journey is sort of set, but not trying to do everything with one big digital project. That, in my mind, doesn't work. So a modular approach, picking quick wins, and making sure that you can fit them into this bigger vision and the journey that the company's on. And I want to emphasize the fact that this is a journey. This is a long marathon. And the technology will continue to develop. It will accelerate in the speed at which it develops. So that whole culture and attitude of adopting change, of tomorrow I'm going to do something different than today because there's a better idea, there's a better plan, there's a better tool. And I think that's a winning mindset that we try and instill in our company, and that we try to be on as a good partner to our customers, is not just to dump technology on the doorstep, but to help implement this and to come and collaborate. And I think that kind of, talking about the future, I think partnering and working and going on this journey together is going to be really important, and it's going to challenge our business models.
I just wanted to add to this one that one of the, not big challenge, but something that we do need to have in mind, and that the experience of the actually human people that had been in plant, that they were able to control the plant by themselves and understand the process and how that works, when expecting the trip, how to manage that, is something that really needs to be merged with this new generation and AI coming in place, because that's something that you cannot just replace, right? So that experience, actually hands-on experience that we have in organization, that people work that, has to be in collaboration with.
Just to add, because I fully agree with you on the talent and the fact that it's both an opportunity and a challenge. I think before AI data scientists, there were people with a lot of diploma, etc. And today, often I go and people say, "Oh, but my nephew can do it. It's very easy. I mean, look. So why is it so complex? And everybody can do it." So I don't know if you have related to that, but so many times now people say, is it that complex? And I think it's both in the creative side, but also in people understanding it. So I think short term, you should keep also as an objective how things are done. And basically what we see with clients and how we deploy AI and Gen AI is not that much the result, obviously it counts, but how this was generated. And I think the transparency on what happens when you use AI and Gen AI today, I don't think in a few years, when a few months will be trained, it will be the same, but today is very important. So for instance, okay, this report was generated with Gen AI, fine, but tell me which are the sources that were used? What was the logic behind it? And if it didn't find the response, why did it provide that one? So I think look also in the talents, people who can really unveil the black box and really put the reasoning behind what is done. Because it's very easy to prompt, tell a machine to do something, a black box, I don't know where it comes from, etc. I think a key success factor would be the ability to explain how it has been done, where it comes from, and improve it. And I think that's an angle that is currently the one that is the most important one.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Let me ask a last question, probably get an answer from each of you. Look, technology is moving very fast. Right? Over the next 5 to 7 years, what do you see the evolution? Will be completely different? Will be a fast track of what is happening? So good to get a 1-minute answer from each of you.
Maybe I start with what we did now, so that we can just gauge that what we would be heading to. I want to give an example of the real-time crowd prediction, which was done for FIFA. So don't ask me that if you face some challenges in getting the transport, that it could be worse. So the idea was, and it's an ideation phase at the start, the idea was to collect the data and information from the telecom provider as well as the utility provider, analyze that particular data, spend time, historic data, then move to the real-time phenomena. And then using that particular information to feed to the transport management system so that they can be less contributor to the carbonization, and then fleet management can work perfectly. Now, this is what is happening today. I do believe tomorrow is the era of industrial metaverse. Immersive collaboration environment would be at the corner, where people to people, people to machine, machine to machine collaboration would be not only happening like a virtual and digital world, virtual and real world, rather submerging together. And that would definitely bring the days when the manufacturing lines, the robots are taking their own decisions, looking into the optimization and the efficiency of the production lines. The test benches will decide that whether this product or component needs to be tested or it will go and it will pass no failures at all. So I think this is something which we are heading to. We need to trust. And one more request, I think this is something which in my opinion, my colleagues would agree with me, that we are using our mobiles for the banking. But when it comes to the throwing the data on the cloud, everybody is showing a little bit of a resistance. So I think that mindset has to go as long as we want to get the full benefit out of it. That's my take.
Thank you.
Oh, I see the both ways. I know you said putting things in cloud, but also I see when we had conversation around the edge computing, right? When your AI algorithm runs actually closer to the grid edge or the equipment or the material that you have. So it's, I believe that you don't necessarily have to put everything in the cloud. It's going to be creating on the edges. So that's one thing that I think it's going to progress. Certainly, as we had discussed already, the predictive maintenance, and that's already there, the digital twins that are already working with AI algorithm in place. That's going to continue even faster that we already seen. Education, personalized education for across the industries, across the universities, and then customer service. We see it already now, and the virtual chatbot. I bought too many shoes already based on that. But so we see that in the customer service, and then I already saw, and we were lucky enough to drive it, the buses and cars transportations, right? So we'll certainly see that in that space as well.
We've got an incredibly exciting 5 to 7 years ahead of us. I mean, I can't wait to see what really materializes. I would highlight two things. The one is, I think, one of the biggest challenges to society at large and all companies that we serve is sustainability. And 2030 is one of those big milestones where more and more companies will be under pressure. So energy management, the whole bringing together of process automation, energy management, the digital solutions that integrate renewables is going to be a big topic, and we'll see AI help us a lot to make and optimize that to reduce emissions. So that's one where I see massive adoption, great demand, and great impact. The second one is co-pilots. I think everybody is going to work with a co-pilot in 5 to 7 years. So whether you operate machines, whether you're running a plant, there will be the possibility to ask questions of the digital platform. You would stand in front of a motor and ask the system, when last did it fail? What's the condition? And what would be the impact if this motor failed? When's the next shutdown? Like you would talk on ChatGPT. So that's an interesting one. So I would say those are maybe two things that I'd highlight.
I just add quickly to your comment that you mentioned about, and the energy efficiency. We just pledged as a COP28, tripling the renewable energy and doubling energy efficiencies, right? So we will see definitely the uptake in that.
And just to conclude, I think on my side, it will be moving from artificial intelligence to augmented intelligence. So I think where the human factor would be key, I think we should still keep empathy as a key human factor. So I think in the next 5 years, we'll learn how to maximize this artificial intelligence to augment our intelligence.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for the insight. Let me probably 3 key takeaways that I got away. Number one, look, there is a massive opportunity by applying AI into operational efficiency. Look, you talk about 30, 40% numbers, or really massive opportunity. There are clear challenges, data, people and talent, and making sure that the company has a vision overall on where they want to go. But there are challenges that we know how to address. And then you say, look, going forward, it will be even more exciting. Not only current implementation, but also scaling up into ecosystem environment, making sure that you move into augmented intelligence, even more data and so on. Look, fantastic is a vision that I can see in the next 5 to 7 years. Thank you. Thanks a lot for participating to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you.
شكراً على حسن الاستماع. Dear speakers, thank you for the great session and exchanging this valuable information. الآن للتكريم يتفضل الأستاذ أحمد ضويبر وكيل المحافظة لشؤون تقنية المياه الجوفية والسطحية.